From trash talking to pipe bombs, all the way back around to some humor and some comedy and people going through windows. Maybe you're getting a fire extinguisher shot at you. These are the best wrestling promos in the history of the greatest sport the world has ever known. And I thank Michael Mercy for letting me bring us in. I'm Steve.
So crack a beverage as we celebrate some of the greatest wordsmiths in wrestling's present as well as past. Do some plugs here. I always prefer to do plugs at the beginning instead of the end. So it almost sounds like you've done an intro before, Steve. We've got Stone Cold Steve Graham, one of my plastic brothers. For people who don't listen to Dutch Mantel's podcast, a plastic brother is like the Golden Grahams. It's like Edge and Christian. It's like, well, I think Dutch Mantel had a plastic brother. So gimmick brothers, basically. But Steve Glosson from Geek Out Loud, where can they find that?
Anywhere you get podcast or just geekoutpodcast.com.
And on the call, we also got Mr. Bob Graham. I was going to call you the All-American boy, Bob Graham. Bob Hansen from San Diego, California, tearing up the comedy scene down there in San Diego. How you doing?
Rock and rolling, strutting, strolling, slamming, jamming, moving, grooving, daddy, hogging the covers, staining the sheets, putting a tingle in her loin from Denver to Des Moines, daddy. Here's the deal, baby.
I think we just witnessed one of wrestling's greatest promos right there.
we witnessed something. We witnessed Jokers cracking wise, Weisenheimers on the up and up, hooligans on the straight and narrow, dames flipping their lids. San Diego. This is a big one, actually. April 11th, Thursday. Mic Drop Comedy Club. There's a link to my Instagram at Bob Hansen Jokes, bio, Linktree, yada, yada, yada. Tickets for that one. Bob's headline in the Gold Room. That's a big one. It's in April. It's far away, but San Diego, do that one. And in March, we're filming our first Dry Bar special up in Provo, Utah. So we'll be on a streaming platform, daddy. Bob's going to be live and in living color, major motion pictures and fifth pound playbill.
You know, this sparkling root beer flavored sparkling water from President's Choice tastes great, but you know what would have made it even better? Promo code.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned, because that's sparkling root beer water, the President's Choice. You don't even have presidents in Canada, but that's how far the choice goes. I don't care if it's your President's Choice, your Prime Minister's Choice, the Queen of England's Choice. Either way, enter the promo code Bob Squad. Nothing happens.
Nothing ever happens.
It's a waste of time.
And
they'd like me to stop.
And finally joining us is Racktime Rob from What's on Joe Mind podcast.
Hello.
You are the outsider.
Yes, I am the guy who has only tangentially, watched wrestling as my brother had it on the couch. So I'm sitting on the couch and I didn't want to move. So.
Yeah, your brother, Iron Mike Graham, is a huge wrestling fan. Both of you are big G.I. Joe fans.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to introduce you, Rob Van Graham. Rob Van Graham. But, being a big Sarge fan, you're kind of tangentially a wrestling fan, right? Sarge brought the wrestling and the toy guys together.
Yeah, like I said, the wrestler I'm most familiar with here.
Right there, the Sarge, and I got a great promo lined up a little later on the channel. By the way, welcome to the channel, new channel. Oh, there he is too.
Listen up, maggot.
Everyone's got one. I've got one over there.
Us into itty bitty ditty bags.
So, Bob, Steve, and myself, we got together already once before to discuss some of the greatest wrestling promos of all time, and that was such a fun thing that I wanted to do it regularly. And I told you guys before we started recording here, my wife said, but are there enough promos to do that regularly? And every wrestling fan on the planet laughed. Sweetheart, there's more promos than matches. And there might be more good promos than good matches. So I think we'll be fine for quite some time. Now, I didn't know at the time we were doing that chat over on the other channel that was basically a backdoor pilot. So you remember in the 80s when you'd watch a sitcom and something would be off about the episode. Like, who are these new characters? What is it with these 12 new characters and this new situation? And why are the regulars only in this for 2 minutes? It's called a backdoor pilot, like a spinoff for a new show that no one really wanted. So in this case, for folks who really love greatest wrestling promos, I'll link to the chat we already did over on the other channel. That was kind of a backdoor pilot for this new channel and these new promos. And we went through some of the all-time greats on that channel. Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, there he is right there. The Macandream. Blue-eyed son of a plumber. One of the greatest of all time.
Real quick, do you have a favorite backdoor pilot?
I'm trying to think of good spin-offs.
Well, I'll tell you, my favorite backdoor pilot was the Trial of the Incredible Hulk. It was a made-for-TV movie.
There were
it
two of
introduced
them.
Daredevil, Rex Smith as Daredevil, and it's John Rhys Davies played the Kingpin. Yeah, but no, the one with Thor was the Return of the Incredible Hulk.
So the Hulk movies were two different. They had two different backdoor pilots.
Yeah, and then the Death of the Incredible Hulk was not a backdoor pilot. It was just sad.
It was slamming the door on Hulk. Yeah.
Yep.
But that was a great one. Yeah.
Yep.
It was. I'm trying to think like how many backdoor pilots had created successful spin-offs, because it feels like most of the time they went nowhere. It was just a waste of an episode.
You can count them on one hand. Like Jeffersons would be the one everyone.
Mork and Mindy. There you go. That was a successful.
Shirley probably more than Mork and Mindy too.
Yep.
That's true. I just watched a Who's the Boss. If you're in Canada, you can watch Who's the Boss on CTV. And I just saw a Who's the Boss episode where I think it was like a bunch of models or something. Which, what does that have to do with a housekeeper, in Connecticut?
Yeah.
It's just it didn't pan out. But so we got to talk about a lot of the greats, Jake the Snake Roberts on that backdoor pilot episode of Greatest Wrestling Promos. But what really pained me like a leg injury. What pained me about that chat we did was that Roddy Piper wasn't on it. And my reasoning was that even though he's one of the greatest talkers of all time, he didn't have that promo. He didn't have Hard Times. He didn't have any of the other ones we picked on there. Suffering builds character. So because we didn't get to do one last time, we're kicking this channel off with a Roddy Piper promo. And this one was suggested by Jumpin' Jason Graham from Rebel Force Radio, who is here in spirit. He wasn't able to be here today because of a power outage, unfortunately. Hopefully they get that sorted out quickly. But this was his pick. So this is from October the 4th, 1986, Saturday night's main event. And what I've included here is actually the pre-match promo as well as the post-match promo. The pre-match promo is basically Gene telling him, "You can't do this, you're too hurt." And they recap the injury that he suffered at the hands of the dastardly Adrian Adonis and Don Morocco and the whole gaggle, as well as the incredible post-match promo, the "You say I'm insane, I say thank you very much." And I think that's what we could call this promo. "You Say I'm Insane" by Roddy Piper. You guys ready to hear the master?
Do it. Let's go for it.
Here we go.
Right now is me and Gene Okerlund with Roddy Piper.
Vince, you'll have to agree with me. One of the exciting matches we were looking forward tonight to seeing. The Iron Sheik versus Roddy Piper. Compliments of Adrian Adonis, Don Morocco and company. An injury to the left knee of the Rowdy one.
Look how Morocco is tying the leg.
And Roddy
like
Piper, you've been prohibited by physicians from going into the ring tonight thanks to Adonis Morocco and that entire gang.
So what you're saying to me is I ain't fighting because some goofball in a dress and some fat hog, you're talking about between the two of them, 600 pounds on the hoof. What you're saying to me is I can't wrestle the Iron Sheik tonight because these fat, nasty, stretch mark looking sons of no. What they did is hurt my knee, so what you're telling me is I can't wrestle, is that what you're saying?
So the doctor is telling you.
The doctor is telling me that. You know what you can do, little Doctor? You can go out and deliver somebody's baby. I ain't no baby. Nobody in my entire damn life has ever told me what to do. If I want to wrestle, I'm going to wrestle. I ain't going to sit back and say, "Oh, my poor little knee," and let them have the courtesy of saying that they didn't let me wrestle. I ain't going to sit back You see, there is a difference in the entire world between every wrestler and myself. And thank God for that.
He is red hot, ladies and gentlemen. Vince, Jesse Ventura, I don't know what to make of it.
I do.
I'm sure you do, Mr. Piper. Back to you, Vince. All right, back in the locker room with Roddy Piper. You talk about a 180-degree swing. I know you're still hurting. Roddy Piper.
I'm not hurting.
How in the world, against the doctor's advice, can you go out in that ring and meet the Iron Sheik?
I do exactly what I want to do. You say I'm insane. I say, thank you very much. Adrian Adonis, do you think I'm insane? Do you think for 1 second now you're running around with your dress on and your beautiful pectorals that look like you had 6 litters of puppies? You're gonna come run in the ring and you're gonna come run around and mess me up and think for 1 second that I'm just gonna sit there and take it and not come out there and beat you to a pulp? You think for 1 second, you in all your splendid glory with your pretty little hat on and all those lovely stretch marks, you know, that look like an upstate map of New York, that you're going to sit there and say, took care of Roddy Piper. Listen, I'm a man. You think something like a knee injury is going to hurt me or stop me, huh? You think that's what I'm made of? You can break my neck. I fight for a living. And here's when you carry a big stick, you know, Gene, you don't gotta walk so soft no more, you know. When you carry a big stick, I'll what?
I thank you very much, Roddy Piper. In my opinion, you jeopardized your career in meeting the Iron Sheik, but you did get your hand raised. Our congratulations
That's
on
why
that.
I'm Roddy Piper, and you're not.
All right, back to you, Vince.
Those are not Betty Davis eyes, I can tell you.
He didn't do decaf, did he?
He was on another level. Yeah, what an amazing promo.
Wow. I love that when you come back to the back, he's sitting there holding a Coke or a soda or something. And you're like, well, that's not the most healthy thing for a wrestler. And then he just dumps it on himself, and it's just like, and you know, he told someone, get me a Coke, and just so he could dump it on himself. This is a great one. I think you're right. The title of this is You Say I'm Insane. Thank you very much. He got to run the full gamut. And one of the things, we were talking earlier off mic about, you know, the shock that some people have at some of the older promos and everything. One of the things that started to happen, especially later on in the 90s, was promos got to be who can insult someone better. It got away from being about, you know, building a match, building a storyline, that sort of thing, or playing off a storyline. And that kind of comes about because of The Rock and how much he had to say about his opponents and everything. But Piper, man, was just weaving that stuff in with Morocco and Adrian Adonis, talking about the stretch marks, talking about the chest that looks like he just gave birth to a litter of puppies and everything. It's just he was absolutely wonderful and one of the best at doing that. And still, because this, I guess, is building to their WrestleMania 3 match.
Yeah, the retirement match.
Yeah. So, so that's just, gosh, it's so cool to see this. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Yeah.
I saw it when I was a kid and I never forgot it. The one where he dumps the Coke and says, thank you very much. So I just wanted to mention, we got to watch this video because we're not live streaming here. New videos dropping Saturday at 6:05, obviously. This channel is on Turner time, of course. Nice. But we got to watch it in its full glory, and I'll try to put the promos up separately from the video as well. We'll see what happens, but for the discussion part, just like on the backdoor pilot, I guess, as it will be referred to from now on, the first time I uploaded that video with the full video, WWE, not only what they've done in the past, and they're more strict than any company I've ever seen. Like Disney will sometimes hit it, restrict it, monetize it themselves. But what WWE did last time is they've just blocked the thing worldwide, which is crazy to me. I've had some music videos I've done with wrestling footage where they've blocked it in like Sri Lanka and Kazakhstan. And it's like, okay, that's strange to be blocked here and there, but it's still available in North America. And Japan and England. But that last chat we did just worldwide blocked. I was like, that's really weird that they're just outright blocking it. Put an echo on the promos, seems to circumvent any copyright issues. But I have a feeling I know why WWE is coming down on me for using their footage more than others, because there's a lot of channels that have the footage and people go like, why you? Like, there's other channels that use it without getting blocked. I have a theory. It's because I've called Randy Savage the greatest of all time.
Oh,
That was worth the wait.
yeah.
That was,
I was like a
totally-
Norm Macdonald level of setup, wasn't it, Bob?
that was wonderful. That's most likely it. I don't
Piper's not impressed. He's like, would you get on with the Piper promo? But anyway, I still feel that way. I stand by what I've said, and I'll take the punishment.
You've
as
always
they
been
see
more of
fit.
I think you and I are both more Brett guys than Sean guys, and that's another issue.
Well, Brett's always right.
But I agree.
So it's easy to be a Brett guy.
So
But
it's one of those-
getting back to this promo, I had to include the pre-match promo as well. The beatdown is crazy. Like, did you notice this little detail here where Morocco isn't just holding his leg, but he's taken his jacket off and he's tied Piper? It's like gang style.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a movie. Like, why would you do that? But I remember this one being a particularly brutal beatdown when I was a kid. And they destroyed the pit as well.
I want to throw two things out there real quick. And this is more the physical side than the promo side. But as an ex-retired former failed pro wrestler, I might as well chime in on time to time. Compared to the way they would do it today is that they'd beat the guy, stomp him really weakly for a while, and then Piper would just keep his leg there, and someone would jump off the buckle and land on it or whatever. This was Piper's struggling. Morocco's holding. You said like Morocco's like a grapevine or something on. Morocco's holding him. Piper's struggling. They're making it look like he's trying to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Piper's doing everything he can to make it look like I don't want to be hit in the leg with this chair. It puzzles me a little bit that Adonis, I hope he used that thumbnail of just Piper's button.
Up skirt, up kilt.
Jeez. I don't want to type up kilt into my computer. But,
Yeah.
but be that as
How
it
do
may.
you ban in Scotland?
Be that as it
Luckily, he's not being an authentic Scotsman in this segment.
may. Yeah, we're in their stateside, what we're doing. But it puzzled me that Adonis would actually pull the chair down with the two legs going into facing downward instead of just the regular flat top of the seat side for that. But I mean, he had control over it and whatever. It just but either way, they did everything they could to make it look believable.
You see the cut too? There's like a cut mark on his leg, which again, like they weren't taking it easy on him. That's a great point, that it really did look like Piper was fighting for his life. And I saw a clip. A lot of Von Erich stuff has been popping up since the Iron Claw came out.
All right.
And I saw the beatdown on Kevin Von Erich. I think it was the Freebirds beating him down. And the guy was fighting for his life. Like I think they walked away more beat up than he did. And it was 3-on-1. So that's what I also appreciate about the beatdown. Like Piper, was going like, I come from the streets. I'm not going to sit there and let you beat me up.
Right.
Like
He's trying to give as good as he's getting.
Exactly. That was
you had four guys there who were very serious about keeping the business protected, so to speak. Piper always took wrestling very seriously, and he took the realism of it very seriously. And Adrian Adonis is as old school as they come, right there with Piper, and of course Don Morocco the same, and Cowboy Bob back there in the background. Like, let's not miss that he's there tearing up the set and
with the pink hat,
doing all kinds of things. So as cartoony as some of the gimmicks were and everything, it's moments like these where Piper's like, this is where the rubber meets the road, and the realism is going to be there. And Piper always carried that. Like, I fell in love with Roddy Piper during the course of his podcast. I always liked him, always respect him, always appreciate him. But his podcast caused me just to kick up my level of respect for him a thousand, dozens of thousands of notches, because he you got to know his personality. You got to see how passionately he loved his family, how serious he was about the wrestling business, and how you could never tell, is this guy working me, or is he playing it straight right now? And I absolutely love that level of just intrigue about the man. But the one thing that I think was always a shoot with him that came across was respect. You treat people with respect. You treat him with respect, and you treat the wrestling industry with respect. And I just I think that beatdown, that's a great point, Bob. That beatdown is something we would not see today. And I think we need more of our younger wrestler guys that we look up to and cheer for to look at things like that. And because when does it feel real? When there's a big pull apart and two guys won't stop fighting and going after each other, but when they just lay there, like you say, and someone lays a chair with it and they wait to get jumped on, it's a different
one of the
thing.
other problems with that is nowadays notice the brevity of this, how quickly the beatdown was like not even a minute clip, but you remember it, and now as an adult, because logically, if it goes on for more than a minute, then a bunch of guys in suits, a few years later it would be like Rene Goulet and all those, whatever, not Robert Goulet, Rene.
Wouldn't that have been something? Robert Goulet is out.
We remember that for the rest of our lives. Not Rene, whatever. All them guys in suits would jump out and but nowadays if the Roman Reigns squad beats somebody up, and the 20 minutes goes by, no one jumps in and does anything.
Right.
Makes it less believable. But just the other thing with Piper, I just want to add this. You looked into his eyes, you believed him. Like you mentioned, Steve, like, is he working or is he shooting? You know what the answer is? The answer is both.
Yeah. Yep.
The answer is both. Because you watch TV, you believe this guy is going to fight you to the death, and he's mad at these guys who just stuck their hand in a hornet's nest or whatever. And you believe that these guys have just done that to themselves. And now I want to pay to see WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Skydome or whatever it is. Silverdome. I mix them up because
Silverdome. Yeah,
it is
It's Silverdome. Hulk Hogan.
Right. That's the thing, because now he made me confuse him. But now you want to pay your probably then it was like $20 at tops WrestleMania 3 to now I want to see, because I want to see these guys are in trouble. And also, and I'm going to do this every single time, a Piper thing. My last comment, humble brag. I have done stand-up comedy with Roddy Piper. I just want to put that out.
I remember that story. Show him the shirt. You got the shirt there, rocking the Hot Rod shirt.
Hell yeah.
Rob, so you must have heard about Roddy Piper. He's impossible to not know about, and probably seen They Live. But this promo right here, what do you think as an outsider?
I mean, this is probably like one of the first time I've seen one of his crazy promos. Because I think the only other time I'd seen Piper was, towards the back end of his career. But yeah, this is I understand like why he's considered a legend, a name, and basically maybe the best guy to work a mic than of all time, just because he's selling every bit of this.
There's just, I don't have my heart in trash talk because I can't come close to this. This to me is trash talk.
Yeah.
And anything else just pales in comparison to this. He's hilarious, but he's also scary. He's serious. Yeah. He grew up on the streets. He's been knifed on the streets. He's been knifed by fans. This is an incredible combination of a really charismatic person, amazing comedic skills, stand-up comedy, like Bob said, right? Actual stand-up comedian, and a guy who has literally fought for his life. No story, no hyperbole, no exaggeration. A dude who was a child living on the streets, actually fighting for his life, fending for himself. He's just an absolute tornado of emotion. And this is one of his best promos, where it's just, he had a lot of sugar drinks before this, I think.
Yeah.
I can tell you,
the insults, just basically, he's just casually tossing these crazy, insults that you would think would, just as an aside. I mean, the only other person you ever see do that was like Muhammad Ali.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And the insults in this promo, they're throwaways, like you said. The throwaways. Today, any one of those would be the insult of the promo. People would come away from it going, "Oh, the litter of puppies," and here he's dropping them like every 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. In modern day, he would have said stretch marks that look like the upstate New York map, and people would have started chanting stretch marks.
Mic drop, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Going back to the pull apart thing, one of the things that I worry about when I see a pull apart is injury, because I feel like there's been a lot of injuries from pull aparts. Like you remember Sting blowing his knee out? That's going way back when he was trying to get to Flair in the cage.
Yeah.
And it's just like an ankle is always getting twisted or something in these pull aparts because they're just too chaotic.
But now, if you look at that Sting going up to the cage, what happened was is his knee was already on the way out, and he jumped just right, and and whatever was going to snap. So,
wasn't it Dillinger pulling him? Like Dillinger was way too into it, like trying to.
No, that was. I mean, like it literally was just like a knee injury that he suffered because it was just ready to go.
Okay. I remember hearing on one of the podcasts it was Dillinger, but the story changes every year, I guess.
Well, when you watch it, like I remember that happening. Like I don't remember anyone really going after him too hardcore to get. He was trying to get in there, and of course, then you had RoboCop show up at that one time. But.
So great promo. I mean, the guy is down a leg, and he's outnumbered. What is it? Is it 4 against 1? You got Adonis. Jimmy Hart isn't really a factor, but he can still pull a leg when you're going off the ropes. Orton, Morocco. Was Fuji still with Morocco at this point? Is that?
I don't think so.
4? Okay, so it's 4 against 1, plus Piper's down a leg, and he's making it seem like it's even. It's pretty even with this type of energy and the threats and the trash talk. And I just love that he didn't need a partner to help him. He didn't have to go and beg Andre or whoever, the Bulldogs.
Got himself over. Didn't need to. It was already over, but
Well, yeah.
Stayed over.
Well, that's our first one here, and we're going to be back very soon for more of wrestling's greatest promos. Thank you, Steve, Bob, and Rob for joining us on this one.
The irresistible force meets the movable object. We got our rear end every 18 inches. You can cut the electricity with a knife. These are the greatest promos here with Michael Mercy. I'm Bob, Steve, Rob, saying stuff and doing things, rubbing elbows, greasing palms, rock and roll, strutting, strolling, slamming, jamming, moving, grooving. Join us every single week, 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Greatest promos.